Five Flags Speedway. Had to get that one right. Five Flags Speedway is one of the most popular short tracks on iRacing.com, hosting races throughout the year, not just in December when it seems like it's the most popular for the Snowball Derby. That said, it comes in this evening, this week, as the final race for Cars Late Model Stock Tour, late model stocks and their drivers to finalize their championship. Ryan Kuhn comes into this week, this evening, whatever you want to call it, with 5 points over Justin Brooks for this championship. 12 weeks of racing go a long way when you're that good and can get these points ahead. But Zach, first of all, Zach Curtis, it's good to have you back. This is one deficit that has me a little bit blown away still. The fact that it's 5 points and it has not changed for 3 weeks. I have no clue what these guys are doing, racing or not racing in late model stocks these last few weeks, but clearly they feel like they've hit a good points total, haven't been racing. How do you think this one pans out?
Well, honestly, it's going to be insane to think about because, we're sitting here doing the Monday night split, which is the 8:15 split, but there's so many other splits throughout the rest of the week. You've got so much more racing left to do, so much still going on. Five Flags, obviously, such a great track. And, I think one reason we haven't seen that points total change, Andrew, is because, it's becoming the end of the summer. A lot of tracks are getting in the rest of their racing schedules, their real-life racing schedules, and we can see that a lot of these drivers here on these points, at least in these top 10, are real-life drivers, and they have late models or legends or anything that they're going around doing, so it would cause that points total to stay about where it is right now.
Ryan Kuhn, Justin Brooks have not been racing much these last few weeks. Justin Brooks hasn't been in a race in the last 3 weeks, and we can tell that by starts. They've been the same number since we took over coverage of this series for this next portion of Elite Performance Industries Short Track Mondays. In the meantime, everybody else has been racing. Points have been changing. RS Center, Mason Johnson still the bottom of the top 10. Justin Crowe, Brendan Lee, they're in 7th and 8th. Blake Thronberg has gotten closer. And Josh Cottle with a big win last week at Hickory Motor Speedway in the SOF split. Picked up a ton of points, got ahead of Kenny Zeems, is now third in the standings, and within 300 points of our leaders. I don't think he'll be able to make a run for the championship, but it's certainly worth noting Josh Cottle's advancements these last few weeks. Meanwhile, with standings in mind, let's take a look at the schedule as to how we got here. Wilkesboro, South Boston, Myrtle Beach, Lanier, that first bit of block of races, then Concord, Nashville, Irwindale, Stafford. We took over coverage for USA, Thompson, Hickory, and Five Flags. Cars already on the racetrack taking laps. There were 2 warm-up laps on the grid. Landon Rapp on pole this evening in car 28. Caleb Hall will start from the 2nd spot. Starting 3rd and 4th, it's Chase Williamson and Kenny Zeems. Great paint scheme for Williamson there on the inside. Brendan Lee from the 5th spot. Hunter Harriet from 6th. Row number 4, it's Justin Crowe and Kyle Campbell. Row 5, Blake Thronberg, Josh Parrish. The back 5 cars, you've got Tristan McKee and Jake Grout. Then finally, John Ballou in the 13th spot. Matthew Beeman in 14th, and to round out the field, Dave Bishner in the 15th position. Green flag flies. We are racing at Five Flags Speedway for the final round of this season. With 1 lap complete, we've got racing for 3rd place. To the inside, that's Chase Williamson getting clear of Kenny Zeems, or at least he's going to try it. To turn number 3, he's got a car on his back end. That's a 10 car of Brendan Lee, who's been great these last couple of rounds. Now fighting for the 4th position here, Zach Murtis. Let's take a look as we kind of take index of everything going on. Take a look at this evening's race details. It's a 50-lap race, no cautions, open setup, 1 quick fix. It's pretty darn simple.
Absolutely, as the field gets single filed out, as we look on the speed shot right here. My goodness, I love this car. But Landon Rapp has put himself out to about a 0.3 of a second lead. I don't know how well that's going to play out for him. We know Landon Rapp is really good on the long run, so we see the fight here going on in the midst of the field. That is, actually, I'm not quite sure. Our timing scoring doesn't line up. I believe that's Justin Crowe fighting with Hunter Harriet for the 6th position. Chase Williamson goes purple.
It's actually Crow defending over Blake Thronberg in the 22 car. Thronberg, that signature 22, moved over to Zeem Setup Shop for Season 3 here in 2023. I think it's worked out nicely for him, and hey, that's how it goes sometimes. He was over EPI last season in Season number 2, but sometimes pairings move around, and we've seen that here this last season of racing. As we take a look further back, Tristan McKee racing with Kyle Campbell and John Ballou, it looks like. Actually, Josh Parrish moving up. So Parrish is here. McKee is actually that 15 car with the green numbers just ahead of Parrish. I didn't even catch that Josh Parrish was in the race. But car number 6 working through the field slowly but surely. I like that new little bit of sky blue he's got adorning that car. He's been great these last few weeks with the EPI number 55 as well. Watch for him to make moves here towards the end of this race.
Yeah, he's definitely made some moves up there, and Chase Williamson has been setting purple laps this entire run while these guys are all just fighting it out towards the back. See how single file they are right now. Looking on Chase Williams fighting with Caleb Hall. There's a fight, though, as Kenny Zeems is going to move into the 4th position over Brendan Lee, and they're all going to get single filed out pretty quick. Don't want to burn those tires up too much, as these guys are just trying to work around, as they've still got over 40 laps to go.
And that's Kenny kind of retaking that position. He had it earlier in the race from the start, gave it up early, getting it back now. They're on lap number 9 of 50 as we work on lap 10 of 50. We'll have 10 complete, 40 to go, this time by the flag stand. You see a look here. Caleb Hall with trouble from Chase Williamson. The RKM Setup Shop 51, hook in the bottom side. I really like this Miami Vice style paint scheme. That is really, really cool looking. For Williamson there on the bottom side. We'll clear the 14 car of Caleb Hall, who now has to go back on the offensive in that Chevrolet for the first time in this race. Weather conditions in this one, if you're curious, for the rest of the week of racing, 72.1 degrees in the air, 77 on track. This race started, I think, about 7:15 in the sim, so working into sunset hours, 7:15 p.m. that is, working into the night.
Yeah, these guys limping it on around at the moment. Still single file. I was hoping to see a few more battles. It's usually common to see quite a few battles with 5 flags on board here with Hunter Harriet. Wow, look at that correction coming off of turn number 4. He is definitely digging that car.
Well, I think this is one reason we aren't seeing many battles. Look at the speed down the straightaway into the quarter, about 115, nearly 120. They only drop down to about 98 miles per hour because of how short these straightaways are. Sure, they get some decent speed, and there's decent banking. But that also means to make a half mile of racetrack, the corners are wide and sweeping. Look at the track map one more time. Look at how wide and sweeping those corners are. They really go on forever. And they're so wide and sweeping in fact, that these guys really don't slow down much. They rarely ever need brakes, whether it's super late model or late model stock racing. So much speed, especially in this car that we've talked about for 2 seasons now, has felt like it's maybe got too much grip almost. You can really get some speed as Kyle Campbell gets loose there out of turn 4 after contact with Justin Crow. Both drivers hanging on, but Zach, these cars have so much grip and are going so fast here, you really don't see much speed drop off in the center of the corner, only about 15 miles per hour or so. This car, I feel like, thrives when you have to really get on the brakes and get the car around the corner, as opposed to kind of just jiving with the bumps and the dips and the pavement on this high banking kind of racetrack.
Yeah, they've gotten so single filed out, no battles. Like you said, Andrew, there's not much of a speed drop going through these corners. They're so wide sweeping. You can make moves around the outside and you can make moves on the inside, but if you can't, just be able to, like you said, use the brakes, hit the car to roll, you're not going to get too much battling. It feels kind of like a super speedway if my point's coming across a little bit. It's like they're just drafting the whole time, staying single file, and not really moving around a ton.
You can see just how spread out this field is, single file. I think throughout every single car right now. It is really spread out now with 20 laps complete. This is a great track, I think, for a lot of short track cars. It's not somewhere that I would come expecting necessarily the most exciting racing. And I don't mean that in any kind of knock to 5 Flag Speedway. It's just so fast, especially for cars like this. So grippy, and I know these guys have tuned the setups to pretty much still be on the edge of grip, but that edge had to take 2 seasons to find, more or less. These guys are still working on these late model stocks and getting them faster week in, week out. It's taken a while to get them to this point, but I don't know. This definitely is about what I expected, if I'm being entirely honest. As Tristan McKee still got in trouble here from Josh Parrish. These guys have not gone anywhere, still 10th and 11th respectively, which is surprising to me, but it is a lot of fun to watch these two.
Yeah, we got one move down on the inside here. That is Caleb Hall on defense from Kenny Deems. Deems is a little loose now. He's got one car to his outside. That's Brendan Lee, as Caleb Hall is going to clear, retake that third position. Here comes the crossover move, Andrew, all the way down to the inside going into one.
Yeah, there was some contact there on the front stretch. Zeems now slides in behind Brendan R. Lee, and Hunter Harriet comes up to take a look at what's going on. Down into turn 3, Zeems back to the inside of the 10 car, and Lee is trying to hang on now on the defensive over the 15 car. Another lap complete. That's halfway in this race. Cross flags. And Kenny Zeems still working the inside. Oh, so close here to Brendan Lee. And now he checks up and lets Lee have it. I like that we see a lot of these drivers in this top split think that way. They realize what's going on, and they realize they're only going to tear their tires up more if they keep fighting like that, Zach. So sit back, recollect yourself, and make another run at it.
Not to mention, the more they fight, the more time they lose to the cars in front, and the more time the cars behind can gain on them. Zeems was able to get down to the inside of Lee a few laps ago after he got loose off the field, and they just sat there fighting. And yeah, just like you said, Andrew, I know these guys are in top split, and I love the respect that they give each other of knowing when to back out of a fight, collect yourself, save those tires, and keep moving, as Brendan R. Lee is now working on the back bumper of Caleb Hall.
Really close fight between these two. Nose cam here now of Brendan Lee working up to the Gossett bus lines 14 of Caleb Hall. Josh Parrish finally getting by Tristan McKee on the inside. This is for 10th position. McKee just about takes off the rear end of that car. Now gets into about a turn 4. That got close as the car's pro late model tour driver loses one spot. Josh Parrish goes on by. Further up, side by side, Hunter Harriet on the outside, Blake Thronberg on the inside. Thronberg making some noise here on lap number 30.
Yeah, let's see if he can take the spot away. He's still got the nose going down into 1. Still on the quarter, but they're going to stay side by side coming through 1 and 2 down the backstretch. But look at them right behind them, Campbell and Parrish.
Oh, that's Justin Crow, and he gets turned around. Justin Crow crashing on the front stretch. He will collect Josh Parrish, it looks like, and the 03 of Kyle Campbell, most notably. Big time spin around for those cars. Parrish gets by okay. Jake Grout now gets spun around in the 49 car. Trouble all over the front stretch on lap 32. Let's take a look back. So first off, Justin Crow, we're trying to get to the inside of Hunter Harriet. Harriet comes down the racetrack, puts the 86 on the wall. The 03 gets into him as well. That's Kyle Campbell. And wow, Jake Grout just comes sliding in there in the background. That was unexpected for sure.
Little Tokyo drift action coming off turn number 4.
There's the onboard from Parrish, racing with Tristan McKee. McKee throws it in there. Parrish on the top side just gets by.
Well, you know what they said in Days of Thunder, just go to the outside, you can drive through it.
One more time here, Justin Crow, number 86 car. Here's the replay from his perspective. Harriet's on the outside in that 81. Watching turns 3 and 4. Yeah, just not enough room.
Looks like he just thought he could come down. He was clear for the second, but the hole closed too fast.
Kenny Zeems now in trouble on the front stretch. Live. He has come to a stop in car number 2. Still has not been able to pull away. Still stopped. There goes the race leader of Landon Rapp, I believe. And finally, the 15 car is forced to tow off of the front stretch. Let's take a look back and see what happened. He was racing with Caleb Hall. I think this is for the 3rd position, maybe 4th. Gets by Hall, and that's a wide shot. That doesn't really show us much. We'll have to watch it back, but I think Kenny got loose on his own.
Just a little bit of contact that can upset these cars, especially at a high-speed track just like this, and you can see them side by side down the backstretch. Going into 3, here it is right here, Andrew. Just
a little bit of contact. Tiny bit of contact, I think. Kenny was already getting a little bit free on the exit of the corner. I think might have jumped out of the throttle ever so slightly. But I do think Caleb Hall just got into the rear end of Kenny Ziem's car and helped him go around. That's unfortunate to see for sure for the battle for fourth. Caleb Hall now racing with Blake Thronberg. If there was contact, I mean, it was very, very slight.
Yeah, absolutely minimal, but like you said, Andrew, that's all it takes. As you see Hall and Thronberg right up to the bumper coming off of turn number 4. He gets the run. He might take the look here on the quarter, looking low inside of turn number 1. They are fighting, and it looks like Caleb Hall might get the run, stay in front.
Big opening there for Blake Thronberg. This is a perfect opportunity for him to grab one more spot now as, Grout gets lapped. That was a little bit close there with our race leaders, as Williamson and Lee went on by. Williamson now nearly 2 seconds behind Leonard Rapp. I promise we're going to get to that 28 car here in a moment. He has been absolutely fantastic today, a graduate of the U.S. Legend Cars program, particularly at Cookout Summer Shootout, somewhere that you partake in racing as well. And here's the crossover now from the 14 car. Caleb Hall back to the inside of Blake Thronberg. This the fight continuing on for fourth position. Thronberg, I think, going to have to let that one go.
And just when we thought there wasn't going to be any racing, we got some side-by-side action for third. About 6 laps to go. Do we see another crossover move? Yes. We do. Thronberg to the inside of Caleb Hall. And Hunter Harriet is just watching this all unfold in front of him, saying, keep fighting, let me pull that gap back in.
Contact now. Hall sends Thronberg into turn 1. Wow, I don't know where that came from, but now there's a side-by-side just ahead. Brendan Lee to the inside of Chase Williamson. That's a quick swap for second spot. Now with 4 laps to go, crossover there from Williamson.
Yeah, now they're getting elbows out. Fight for second and third, and a fight for fourth and fifth, as these guys are just side-by-side all around the racetrack. Look at them going to turn 3. I think Lee is going to clear coming off turn 4.
Finally gets back clear of the number 9 car. Now we can focus up on our race leader with 3 laps to go. Landon Rapp leads at Five Flags Speedway, has led the entire race, is notoriously really good on his tires, saves his stuff for late in the race, and he has got some speed this week at Five Flags. Every single lap led so far. With 2 laps to go, it looks great for car 28.
Absolutely, just full sail out in front, rolling through 3 and 4. And Andrew, I think he's going to lead from green to checkers.
White flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. One more time around this half mile further back. There are still fights for second and third, but split up along with fourth and fifth. So all eyes go back up to our race leader, Landon Rapp. One more corner to go, and it's a big SOF win for car 28. Landon Rapp to victory lane in Pensacola, crashing behind Caleb Hall into the outside wall. And we'll check on that replay in a moment as everybody comes on by the flag. Drama late at Five Flags.
Like Thronberg was not too happy with Caleb Hall coming there off of turn number 4, but Landon Rapp, it looks like he's going to celebrate for his win tonight in, well, an almost 5K SOF.
Strong SOF for sure this evening. SOF meaning strength of field, basically. Strength of every driver in the field, as Thronberg gives a congratulatory nod there to Landon. As I mentioned, a graduate of the U.S. Legend Cars ranks. Longtime driver over at Charlotte Motor Speedway with Cookout Summer Shootout. Kind of moved on to different things, running a little more late model stuff, and I don't think he races quite as much these days, Zach, but stays active within the racing community, certainly here on iRacing, becoming a big focus of short track racing, taking part in a lot of different leagues. But let's go back and see if we can't find that moment between Thronberg and Hall, and I think it's either this lap or the next lap. Looks like this is not quite the white flag lap, so we'll just wait for this to happen, basically. But definitely some drama late. That's not quite white flag just yet. Let's see if we can fast forward a little bit and find it. I think this might be coming to the white, and sure enough, this is coming to white flag. So take a look here. Car 22 into car 14.
Got the lap car right there in front, but I don't think that was too much of a factor. There it is, right there.
And that's an interesting one, because that's not just entry to the corner where you lift. I mean, Blake really had to commit to that corner, Zach. That really took some effort to get to him. Let's listen on board. Actually, let's go in the helmet. Let's listen here to the throttle. He picked it back up.
He did. Just a little bit. Got it back going, gathered it up, but that might have been just a little bit of retaliation for that move that we saw in turn number 2.
100%. Without a doubt. He had to really drive through that corner. I mean, it takes effort, I think, to get to Caleb at this point in the corner. Caleb does check up pretty early in, but that car lurches ahead. I don't know if he would have made the corner otherwise.
It didn't necessarily help with the lap car being up on the outside line, because Caleb was going to have to check up a little bit on corner exit to not run all the way to the wall as most drivers want to.
Let's listen. Not a great view of the tack, but let's at least listen here in 3 and 4. This is a lap prior. So he picked up the throttle a little before that first white line goes past the dash. Let's listen here in 3 and 4 again and see kind of where this lines up. Back into 3 and 4, real far on the inside. He picked the throttle up car lengths. I mean, car lengths sooner, Zach. If I can go back and show this one more time, this is way early. He picks up the throttle. So let's fast forward a little bit into turns 3 and 4. And let's see if I can draw the line. Throttle there. Well, okay. Didn't draw the line.
That was the first line for the restart box, we'll say.
Sure, and then watch here again. And we're going to pause where he picks up the throttle, okay? Listen. Out of the throttle. Throttle. That white line that I'm talking about, that white line is up here.
That is so far. That's about a little bit past center of corner between 3 and 4. Right now, he's about center of 3.
That is much, much earlier in the corner. And, I mean, racers can do different things situationally, but if I was a race admin, if you asked me to make a call, I think the call, to me at least, would be pretty darn clear. But that is just a personal opinion. And we'll leave it at that. Let's take a look at our race results this evening with Landon Rapp, of course, taking the victory. A big-time victory for car number 1. A lot of I rating, I'm sure, for that driver. Landon Rapp, every single lap led on pole, flag to flag. Big-time day for him. Brendan Lee goes second. Also a big-time day for him. He's lower down in the top 10. He could use these points, and we'll put them to good use in the championship fight. Chase Williamson goes third. Blake Thronberg fourth after contact with Caleb Hall. Hunter Harriet finishes in between the two as Hall drops to 6th. Tristan McKee 7th. Josh Parrish 8th. John Ballew in the 9th spot. And finally, Justin Crow hangs on to a top 10.
Yeah, and then your bottom 5 finishers, Dave Benchner in the 13 car and Matthew Beeman in the 11. They were your 2 final finishers on the lead lap. Jake Grout, first car to finish the lap down. Kenny Zeems and Kyle Campbell, your 2 cars that ended up not finishing tonight, obviously in some not so ideal circumstances. But, Andrew, all in all, I think tonight was a great race. Landon Rapp put on one heck of a performance, dominating the whole race, and just honestly a good way to end out our tenure with the EPI Short Track Mondays.
Well, to end out this season, we'll say. I think we've got more racing coming in season 4, but sure, to end out this season, absolutely. A good little race to have here at Five Flags Speedway. Always love coming to this place, and it's getting more and more popular, I feel like. It adorned so many schedules this summer. It made its appearance, well, in 2 really important leagues that we cover. The D-Line Racing League, way back on July 25th, so not so long ago, about a month ago, for race number 9 over there. Of course, adorned this schedule here. I think we took Legends here earlier in the season, though, as well. So we've had a lot of Five Flags racing just in this calendar year alone. And in fact, when everything comes down to it at the end of the year, we do kind of a yearly wrap-up, Zach, of different stats and metrics and things. One of those things being which tracks we broadcast at the most. I think this summer stretch is going to have Five Flags high up on that list. I'd be willing to say about 8 broadcasts this year alone, and we had, of course, 5 last December with EPI Speed Weeks here last December. So I really do believe we're going to have a lot of broadcasts that end up on the channel over the course of the year as a whole. It is so popular right now. That said, what's also popular is just this late model stock car in general, Zach. We've got more racing with it tomorrow evening for the final D-Line Racing League by Elevated Performance round of any kind. We're going All-Star Racing tomorrow night at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We've got a special format cooked up. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night, 9:15 Eastern. We might go live a little bit earlier, to be honest with you. It might be a little more like 9 Eastern when we start that broadcast, maybe 9:05, 9:10, something like that. So tune in around then and check out what we've got on hand. It's going to be a fun little format. I think 75 laps or so. That's all I'm going to tell you, though. In a week's time, a week and a couple of days, actually, as we get into September 6th, we'll come back after about a week off and go racing with the UFL Elite Series at Chicagoland Speedway. That's going to be a big one because, Zach, you plan to be in the field for that race. And the next one up for Chicago, that's going to be a big track for these cars, these NASCAR Cup Series Gen 4 cars. That is going to be one heck of a race for you behind the wheel. Absolutely. I'm excited for it. It's one track that I've actually favored. A lot of us who have been on the iRacing service grew up playing, NASCAR 15, NASCAR the Game Inside Line, and that was the one track that I was always the best at. Nobody could touch me on that track, so I feel like it's carried over a little bit to the iRacing sim, so we'll see how that happens. But Andrew, following the UFL Elite Series, just 2 days after that, we're back with Barber Ford, and this time at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, and that's one great track, especially for those Ford Mustang cars. I've seen so many people want to use that track with that car. It's such a great combination. It's going to be a great race for them. Yeah, I really am excited for the Barber Ford Mustang Club to make a return and go racing for their monthly event at specifically at Road Atlanta. It's such a cool place to go racing. I love every time we get to broadcast there, and that I got to think about it. Braselton, Georgia racetrack is just, it is one to be cherished and will be cherished absolutely. But next Friday when we go racing there with the Barber Ford Mustang Club, going to be a lot of fun. That said, that's it for us this evening and this season, Zach. Finally, this season comes to a close. Keep an eye out. So long as it gets interesting with the points, we're going to check it out probably this weekend and see if we can get a post out about the point standings, if anything changes. As it stands right now, Ryan Kuhn, though, the championship leader. This is how it was coming into this evening. Zach, do you want to place bets as to how things end up? Ryan Kuhn, hands down, I think he's got it. I think he's going to be able to pull a bit of a hat trick, expand that 5-point lead throughout the rest of the week. I don't think Justin Brooks is going to be able to close it up. I think if he has not raced in the last 3 weeks, I don't expect him to race anytime this week. And maybe a driver just needs to give me a perspective check. I don't know. But it's weird to me to be so high up in the standings, 5 points out, and not be racing. I don't know if something happened for Justin Brooks. Maybe he's just unable to race. I'm not sure. And that very well could be the case. But if it's an optional thing, I'm a little bit perplexed, and I'd love to know what's going on there for that driver. I'd like to see an upset. I'd like to, and he's a little bit younger, I think, to this kind of iRacing short track thing in general. I'd like to see him go out there and get a big SOF win at some point this week and grab a few points. Nothing against Ryan Kuhn. He's great. He is a fantastic late model stock driver on and off the sim. But it would be cool to see the little guy win, in that we haven't seen that kind of thing from Justin Brooks before. So we'll see what kind of happens, I'm sure. And of course, it'd be great to see Josh Cottle go up there. I think he's mathematically out of it, but it would be awesome to see Josh get enough points to make up the deficit. I really don't think that one's going to happen, but with the drop weeks, the last one being figured in, I mean, it's possible that Josh could make up enough points, I think. Maybe just. I don't think it's likely, but it might just be mathematically possible. I think 300 kind of has been the cutoff before, but I wouldn't put any money on that bet, unfortunately. As dominant as Josh was at Hickory last week, we didn't see him this evening, and that kind of is a big telltale sign as well. But that'll do it for us this evening at Five Flag Speedway. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night as we go racing again with the D-Line Racing League for their All-Star Race at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, brought to you by Elevated Performance. Otherwise, a big thank you to our partners here at the channel with Whiplash Media SimCams, ATVO, and CC's Business. A big shout out, as always, to, hang on, there's the logo, Elite Performance Industries, for partnering with us this season to bring you Short Track Mondays on Pit Stop TV. This has been so much fun. Hopefully it happens again there in Season 4. Let Tyler Payne and everybody over at EPI know that you want to see more racing if you've enjoyed this so far, and we'll keep doing it here on Pit Stop TV on these Monday evenings. That's it for us. We will see you next time. Zach, any parting words before we close this season out?
Bring me more North Carolina short tracks for the Cars Tour. There's so many great short tracks that we can see these late model stock cars on. Tri-County, Wake County, what else? Ace Speedway. So many great tracks in the area that these Cars Tour late model stocks can be used on. And, you know, Andrew, I know you want to see some of them too, because there are a lot of great tracks that I know you're particular to.
Absolutely. I mean, in my area, you've got Tri-County Motor Speedway. Not so far away would be Pulaski Motorsports Park, I think is what they now call it. I know that the name just changed. Kingsport Raceway is not far away in Tennessee. That'd be a great addition. Anderson Motor Speedway in South Carolina would be fantastic. Of course, Greenville Pickens needs to be scanned before it goes away. Dillon Motor Speedway out in South Carolina would be a really, really cool addition to make to iRacing. I think you mentioned Wake County. I think you might have mentioned, did you mention Ace in Orange County? Those would be great racetracks to grab.
I did mention Ace, but I did not mention Orange County, so thank you for that one. But I also think that Pulaski, Pulaski, thank you. I can't pronounce any words today, which was formerly Motor Mile. I was hearing rumors that track might be shutting down as well, so I think they need to scan that one and get that put into the iRacing service before that goes away, just like Greenville Pickens.
Well, the rumor mill goes as the rumor mill goes, but Pulaski is a great place to go racing. Just had the SRX Superstar Racing Experience go there this past summer. Dominion up in Spotsylvania, Virginia would be a fantastic addition. Franklin County Speedway would be, I think, a cult favorite for sure. Caraway Speedway would be good. I mean, the tracks go on and on and on. Florence Motor Speedway in Florence, South Carolina would be a big-time addition. With no wall there around the backstretch, really any of the corners either. That would be a big one. Dale Jr.'s gone racing there recently. That needs to be added. If you go further up north, I mean, I can think of places like Jennerstown Speedway in Pennsylvania. I can think of the now...
Riverhead Speedway.
Yeah, Riverhead. I can think of Wall Stadium. I can think of the now defunct Beach Ridge Motor Speedway in Maine. I can think of Speedway 95 up there in Herman, Maine. There's a lot of racetracks that late models go to, whether it's a late model stock, a super late model, a pro late model, a limited late model, who knows, a crate late. So many racetracks. It'd be great for late model racing to add on the sim. I'll take any of them, literally any of the ones we mentioned, and we'd be happy. But I tell you what, a big shout out to those who make it happen for us behind the scenes in audio, ATVO, Whiplash Media, SimCams, OBS, and iRacing.com. That's it for us this season. We gave you our track wish list. Let us know on social media what other tracks you'd like to see. We'll see you next time at Pit Stop TV, hopefully tomorrow night for the D-Line Racing League and their All-Star Race. We'll see you then.
If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is one entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.